Now, most of you know that I had to pick up another Marui AKM because of my stupidity last year selling off my original parts for my other AKM. So I hit up the guys at HC2 Airsoft and I said, can you get me one of these in? They said, yeah, no worries, ordered me one in. I was at their site on the Saturday and they said, basically, when you come to site Saturday for your CQB game, it will be here waiting for you. So they got it delivered to them on a Saturday, and here it is. You've seen these Marui AKMs here on the channel before from when I bought my first one, which, you know, oh, sorry if I bumped the mic there. From my first one, you guys know I did anything but leave it standard. So I can grab it over here. Here is my first one. So yeah, it's still rocking, you know, the original or an original grip that actually came off the Saiga 12 because I stole the Magpul grip off this to run the Saiga 12 while I wait for another grip to turn up. And it's got the SAG, I think this is the SAG Mark 2, Mark 2.1 SAG chassis on the front here, which is very nice. It is such a solid, rigid rail, and I love it on this AKM. What I don't love on this AKM is this part here. I can't take the top cover off, and because of this, if I want to remove the bolt or I want to change the valve in the bolt or I want to do anything, I have to strip the whole front end down on this thing, strip it all down, get this levered off to get that off, because with this on, I can't get the cover off and I can't get the bolt out. But, you know, it was a very modern build, so because I've had to order a new one, I'll probably just be leaving this as it is. Who knows, they might release more exciting products for this and I'll change it out, but that's my AKM. It's running the 130% Bowmaster recoil spring. This one is, of course, completely standard. So the bolts are a little lethargic in comparison, but it does give them a nicer, slower rate of fire. The only reason I put the uprated recoils in these is just to get the semi-auto a bit snappy and get the bolt to come forward just a bit quicker. So I've got another AKM. I've got another spare mag, which is always good to have more magazines. They're compatible with the other models. But we're going to want to change this thing, and that's what we're going to be getting to today, because I know many of you have been waiting for this video. No idea if these parts will go straight on. We're going to find that out. And then for the rest of it, I mean, is it me or does the bolt, does that top cover seem different? So this is a bog standard Marui. So they must have changed some parts, because the top cover on this one is very matte, where this one is very glossy. So maybe they've changed parts on different batches. Who knows? But we'll get straight into it. Maybe I've handled this top cover more, which makes it glossy, but it might not seem so much on camera, but this thing looks almost matte in comparison. These are very easy to pull apart. As you'll see here, we can pull everything out. And what we really want to be getting at today is the back end of this. So we need to pull the grip off. Again, this gun's never been fired. We're pulling it apart. It seems daft, doesn't it? But we need to get the grip off. So let's pull that out now. We'll pull this out. Got a really long screw on these. Once we get that off, we can extract the grip. We do have a little nut in here, which we'll pull out just to keep it safe. I'm going to have to go from memory on this thing because I can't quite remember on my old one how everything came apart. So we've got a screw on the top here. Let's try and slide this over so you can see what I'm doing. So we've got a screw here. I'm sure we've got another screw to pull out. Oh, that landed straight in the trigger group. That's no good, is it? So we might have to take the rear of the stock off again. It's been a while, so I'm guessing can't think how long it has been since I built that original AKM. It's been at least a year or two. So I'll pull this off and see if it is indeed in the back of the stock, because honestly, I'm clutching at straws for memory here, so we'll get this off real quick, because we're going to put some nice KPYK bits on there. That comes off, that comes off, and yeah, I was correct, we do have a screw in the back of the rifle here, so it's a Phillips screw. So we might not have to take the whole stock off again. I know I'm annoying you with saying it, but honestly, I'm just drawing a blank. So we get that stock bolt out the stock, we can then slide this off like so. It is coming back to me a little bit. So that goes in there, and then I presume we do that bolt inside, which looks like a 4mm. It doesn't want to budge, of course it doesn't. It's a little tricky. If you've got a screwdriver you can't get grip on, sometimes you can use microfiber cloths just to stop it slipping in your hands, give yourself a bit more to grab onto. It's probably got a lot of Loctite on it. So we'll turn this out here. I'm pretty sure this part comes off, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So that part will indeed slide out. Like that. We do have an encapsulated nut on here as well. So with that out, I think we need to pull the trigger group out to get this off. Can I remember how to do that? I'm hoping so. So we pull that out. I'm sure we've got a couple of pins. So we've got these 2 pins that I'm pretty sure we have to tap out. So let's get the armor block. And yeah, people are going to get angry. This is an AR-15 armor block, but what are you going to do? And we'll tap this out. So need a pin punch and a hammer. 1. 2. Both fall out. And then I believe this just slides out. And we do have to be careful. Make sure no springs want to disappear. So we want to set that down gently there like that. And with this piece, as we pull it out, you've got a little piece here that's on like a spring. And honestly, I can't remember. I think this just gives tension to the top cover. And we're going to pull out the stock that we bought for it, which you'll have already seen on the channel. Pull these bits out here. We can get rid of the box. So we have to transfer that spring assembly on the back here. What did I do with that flathead. I had it here literally just a minute ago. I'll use this one. And we want to extract this spring without it flying off into the nether. So we're going to pull this out very gently here. If this disappears, we're probably not going to find it. And there we go, like that. So that assembly will come out here, like so. You can set that main bracket to the side. And we're going to get that part. We're going to grease this little bay up a little bit. Make sure we don't get any binding. Like that. We can place this little doodad back in. I'm going to guess it's going to go into this one a little bit easier than it came out the other. So we push this on there, making sure we don't lose it if it decides to disappear across the room. Just trying to push the first coils of this spring in. Like that. Spring scratches just slightly, but that's fine. And then we can take this, and that just fits in place from the other one. We get the bolt here, the original bolt. I'm pretty sure we use this, and we screw it into the receiver. That's going to hold that bracket in place. Nice long thread on that. There's still a bit of Loctite left on there, so it should be fine. Place our trigger pack back in. We take our pins, place those back on, and we're lined up. We are lined up, it's just been a bit of a bugger. Pin in. We can take our safety lever, push that back into place. It's got a little hole on the opposite side where it wants to index like that. And then we just want to, how did we do this last time? Did we push it up? It's the trigger, isn't it? So I'm just being an idiot. And that's our trigger group back in. Flip this over. I'm pretty sure this will be the same thread. We did get a screw in the kit, and I'm starting to think that might be a replacement screw for the stock. But we've got the original. Is this the same thread? Oh, that's the stock screw. What am I doing? That's the stock screw. This screw's in here. Yeah, looks like that's still a good fit. So we'll take our grip. We don't need the hex nut from the original because this is tacked and threaded into the aluminium. And then we can put this back on temporarily while we decide what part we're going to want to replace it with. So screw that down, got our grip back on, and then it's a case of mounting this new funky stock. So no idea how this goes on. I imagine we're going to have to screw it from the back, which means we're going to have to remove this latch system. Otherwise it's going to get in the way. So which screw are we going to be removing? Let's hazard a guess. 2.5, spot on. We're going to remove this screw. Is it going to want to come off here? That seems pretty on there. This one seems like a better bet. So we'll keep them separate. We can take out this latch. The spring is encapsulated in there. So we put this screw back on this latch here so we don't lose it. I know it looks a bit of a mess now, but we'll get there, don't worry. Can we pull this button out? Is it held in? I think it might be held in by the actual stock itself. Joy. Right. Are we a 2mm? We need something with a bit more reach. I'm going to guess a 1.5. Is this a 1.5? Yes, it is. Correct. Didn't need massive amounts of torque to get that loose. And then we should be able to, loosening that off, push the pin out like that. And then we can pull this bracket off, and that gives us access to put this on. So we can basically index this, and from how it looks, this is reversible. So maybe you can flip the bracket round because it's got 2 thread holes on there. So if we're having it fold the normal way, we line up the holes like that. That would make no sense though. So I'm not sure why there's another thread hole there, because this isn't adjustable. The only thing that would make sense is you could flip it round, but it'd sit, you'd have this massive gap. So not entirely sure on that one, boys and girls. What we are going to do though, we're going to take this main screw. This looks like a 4mm. It indeed is, but we're not just going to simply screw this in. We're going to use some low medium strength thread lock, and we're going to put a few dabs on this screw. It's quite a big screw with big threading. We can slide that through this stock. I'm pretty sure this is the right hardware. Yeah, and we can screw this in. I'm going to want to apply a bit of torque, so I'm going to get my cloth back out here. Get a bit more grip. We don't want to go overly tight to damage the threads. And there's our bracket on there. So all we need to do now is basically reverse the process. So we can actually completely install this latch first. 1, 2, and 3. Put the stop button on here. 2.5mm. I'll probably go and come back and thread lock all these screws just to make sure. We place our stock on and push down the button so it gets out the way. Line this stock up here. That goes down into it, which we've got this little hole for this grub screw, and that just sits in that recess on the pin to stop the pin going up and down. And that is our KPYK stock added. Very cool. We can flip up the cheek riser. We can extend it. Nice and securely fitting. Folding function does actually work. That's one thing I was concerned about, because these don't have a steel receiver, but it can actually latch onto the pin for the trigger pack. So it's not going to be like super secure, but enough to just hold it out the way if you're in a vehicle. Right, we've got the stock added. Now this is getting a really long video, so I'm probably going to split this up into 2 parts. We'll quickly throw this back together. Super easy to do. Just take your time with it. Don't rush it. It's going to go on there. Right, let's quickly tidy up these bits and pieces here. So we'll just put this stock piece back together. I'm pretty sure it went on this way. Like that. We can throw this back in there. Put the screw back in. To make sure we don't lose any of the hardware. And I'm pretty sure we could have done this without taking the butt plate off, because we could have just gone through the little access hole. Was it this way? I believe it's this way, yeah. Like so. And we're on the way to building our new Ukrainian crook AK. I'm not sure if this crook furniture is usually fitted to AK-74s or, you know, 47s, AKMs. I'm really not entirely sure. For us, we don't have Marui AK-74s yet, which I know. I never understood Marui's release window. Like, they released this, they literally could have done some very minor changes. They've got all the infrastructure there. New mag, new markings maybe, and we could have had 74s, but we're not that lucky, unfortunately. This one goes in the top here, so let's make sure we don't lose that. And put this to one side in case we ever need any parts off it. Maybe a company releases a new stock that's even cooler and we need this bracket. We don't want a repeat of last time. That T-nut's going to go in there. I need to think of a way to trap that in place. We're just going to set it to one side for now. Get all these bits and pieces out of the way. I do really like this Aramax driver. Beginning to be fond of it. I know some of you want the kinetic driver back on the channel, which, don't worry, will do. But let's take a quick look at this thing now. So we've got at the rear of our setup going on. We can adjust the cheat right, we can fold it, it does stay to a degree. We can extend it. It has the sling point exactly where I want it on the right hand side of the stock. Just going to see what how comfortable it is. We'll put the cheat riser up. So it is very short in this configuration. So what will be interesting is if you fold it with the stock out, if it doesn't align with those pins, you don't get the functionality of it folding. But I'm not too bothered about that. But there we go, about there's the right length for me. Very minimalistic and out the way, I kind of like that. And yeah, we're on the path. So we've got the front end to do. And then we need to figure out what type of grip we're going to put on here, whether we're going to keep it Magpul. I do like the Magpul ones. I also would like to grab another Hogue. I've had Hogues for, I think I ran Hogues on my GHK AKs, to be honest. But yeah, we'll leave it there because it's going to be a super long video again. I try to keep these as short as possible, but what can you do? Thanks for tuning in. The next one coming up will be where we fit the handguard, so stay tuned for that. And as always, from me and Bench, thanks for watching.